coming off the worst weekend I've had on eBay in well over a year, if not 2 years, I'm being reminded of that saying, never quit on a bad day. And something that I like to say and I follow in my reselling business is never quit without looking at your numbers. So today's video, friends, I am looking at my numbers, the financials behind my reselling business. This is a monthly video, so you can check out how much I make, not only my gross, but all the way down to my net every single month reselling on Poshmark and eBay, doing social media, and having digital products and courses available. But today's video, we're going to be looking at all of that information, and I'm really looking at it from the standpoint of I'm having more and more bad days, and I want to really look at, is it worth it for me to continue to do this, or should I shift into doing something else? And I'm going to let the numbers tell me, is it worth it for me to keep doing or not? Because like I said, I am having more and more bad days. So like I said, we're going to be looking at my profit and loss. Before we get into that, I do set 2022 goals. I set them at the beginning. My January video, you can look, I kind of go in depth into them, but I want to check into my 2020 goals. How am I doing? It's now, I'm filming this for March 2022 numbers. And so we're going to check in with those goals. How am I doing, progressing, things that I'm doing to update those as well. Then we'll be looking at my profit and loss. So that is going to be what I use for my taxes, what goes to my CPA, but we're talking my gross revenue, taking out, and I'm showing you all these numbers, full transparency, showing you all these numbers, what it really looks like to be a reselling business. Last year, I did 6 figures reselling alone. So a 6-figure reselling business, what that actually means for your bottom line, right? We're looking at gross. We're taking out my cost of goods. We're taking out my shipping and fees. We're taking out my expenses, and then how much I save for taxes, what my bottom line is from the money that I make gross selling on Poshmark and eBay. And then we'll also be looking at my revenue split. I do resell on Poshmark and eBay, but I also make money on YouTube and Instagram and digital products. So I share the split out. What of this revenue, where is it coming from? I am a small YouTuber, so you guys, I don't know if you'll be surprised or not. Let me know down below if you think that YouTubers make more. Some definitely make more, and I think some reselling businesses are heavier in social media, bringing in that income. For me, my reselling business is the majority of my income, but I'll be sharing that split out for you as well. If you're new to the channel, I just want to give you a little bit of background so you know what you're looking at before we really get into these numbers. We're looking at March 2022 numbers. I am a full-time mom, so that is my main gig. I have 3 neurodiverse children. He just turned 5, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and then a 16-year-old that goes back and forth between families. So in March, I worked roughly 10 hours a week. I sub and volunteer at my children's school. In March, it was 1 to 2 days a week. So that gave me 3 days. I have a preschooler, so 3 days, 3 hours, right? 9 hours. And then I was taking some weekends and stuff off. So averaging about 10, 12 hours a week. And then I took spring break off. My kids were off in March for spring break. I took it off. I was doing minimal work. I was listing for my drafts every day. I do have a virtual assistant, and we'll talk about that in the expenses. I was listing for my drafts every single day, which takes me 10 minutes max, right? I have virtual assistants. I just go in there and launch them every day and review them quickly. And then I was shipping every day, except for the 2.5 days that we were gone on vacation and I was not home. I will link a video up here of what sold during those 2 days and kind of how I deal with that. But that's what we're looking at there for how much I'm working to make this amount of money. I do have 3 digital products, Google Sheet templates for you to be able to look and manage your data. Those are linked down below. They are 50% for April, trying to get you guys into tax season, managing your data, making strategic decisions, and having your numbers ready for taxes next year. And then 2 courses on how to use your numbers to make money reselling. Obviously, you're watching me on social media, so I do have social media. This is my whole business as a whole. So I'm bringing money in from reselling, I'm bringing money in from social media, and I'm bringing money in from digital products. So we'll see that split out in a minute, but I want a full disclosure on where all of the money from my reselling business is coming from. I do have 2 virtual assistants. They cross list, and I've trained them now to start helping with some social media. It's allowed me to work less hours and volunteer and sub a little bit more in my children's school. And then I do thrifted and liquidation new with tags. Women's clothing and shoes and purses is like 95%. Sometimes I'll do men's, but it's mostly women's. I'm getting more and more out of liquidation. I will link the video up here on my new strategy and why I'm doing less liquidation and more bins and thrift store. So let's look at my goals for 2022. So the biggest thing that I wanted to do in 2022 is increase my net since I'm out of space. I have no more space. If you guys have been following me, I work from home. I cannot go get a rent. It would not be strategic of me to go get a rental property or a storage unit because I literally have to be at home to work because I work with my children around. They get sick and I can still ship every single day. It's not manageable for me to go to a facility to be able to ship and work every single day. So I am out of space. I want to maximize my profits while not getting more items. So that's something that I've really been working on this year, 2022, as well as my time. I'm not adding any more time to my plate. I'm actually taking time away because in 2022, I did start subbing. And so I'm taking time away, but I still want to make money. So the first goal, this kind of goes into 3 goals for that main goal. The first goal is to increase my net by continuing to decrease my cost of goods. And we'll get into this a little bit more into when we get into the video. This is working. Last year, my cost of goods was around this time was like $9, $10 because I was heavily into liquidation and that cost more. There's goods and bads to it. That's not the purpose of this video. I have videos on my channel that you guys can check out if you want to get into that. But I am decreasing my cost of goods. However, my gross is going down. I'm doing videos on it, so make sure to subscribe because I filmed a video. It probably won't come out for a couple weeks, but I did film a video on kind of what's going on and why my gross is down and what's happening. But the good news to this is I'm decreasing my cost of goods, which means that my net is not as low as it would be if my cost of goods was still really high. The thing that I wanted to do, because I cannot expand my reselling business, right? I can't get more items. I can be a little bit more strategic in what I'm doing there, but it's not going to be a huge swing in my numbers. I can increase other parts of my business, right? So things that don't need space, like my affiliate, like I can do more affiliate marketing. I can do more dashboards. I can do more digital products, maybe one-on-one teaching courses, stuff like that. Things that don't take up time. They do take time. Things that don't take up space, I can be doing more of that. I am going to tell you, it is, we're into April now, and I have not worked on any of that because I really have not put time into it. I have the extra time that I am getting from my virtual assistants doing things. I'm actually working less and spending more time either volunteering or subbing. So I'm getting paid to sub. Some of the time I'm not spending into my reselling business, I am making up with the subbing income. However, it's not at the rate that I make reselling. Full disclosure. But it just really hasn't been a priority for me. I've been taking a lot of time off. We had COVID. It's been a rough first quarter. So that has none of my goal number 2 has happened. That's where we're at. Goal number 3 is to decrease my expenses, right? So if I decrease my cost of goods, my net will go up. Another line that I can decrease is my expenses. And we'll look at all of this in the profit and loss in a minute, but I can decrease my expenses. Last year I was growing, so I was buying lots of bins, I was buying lots of shelves, I was increasing my business. Right now I'm staying stagnant. So my expenses compared to last year should be decreasing. I'm proud to say they were $100 less than they were last year. So not a huge increase, but that's $100 more in my pocket. And something I will say is my virtual assistants are getting better. So while I'm paying them, they're working the same amount of hours as they were last year. They are definitely getting faster and better at listing, and I've added more to their plate. So I'm spending the same amount of money that they're doing last year, but they're actually doing more things for me, which is freeing up more of my time. So my expenses hasn't gone down, but it is freeing up some of my time, which is definitely very helpful. Let's go ahead and take a look at my profit and loss statement. That's the wrong sheet. So this is not the profit and loss. We're just going to quickly look at my numbers, and you can definitely see, so the green is 2022 revenue for March, I was $8,843. You can see it's definitely down. March of 2021, I was at over 10 grand, and that's down. You can see here in February it was down, January it was down, but just slightly. Things are definitely looking down. Like I said, I am doing a video on kind of what the cause of this is. That's not the purpose of this video, but do make sure to subscribe to see that video coming out. Feel free to let me know what you guys think is going on as well. All right, this is the profit and loss statement. We're going to get a little bit into this, then we'll go to the revenue and look at expenses. So my gross, like I said, was $8,842.98. Friends, things are down, but I mean, I work 10 hours a week around my kid's schedule, took spring break off. Like, things are down, and this is why I like to look at my numbers. Things are down, and it is, when you see that chart that we just looked at below where I'm, $2,500 less than I was last year, it can be very defeating, and this is why I like to look at my numbers, and we'll see, is it still worth it for me, because things are down from last year. We are looking at March 2022. I have 1,834 items listed. Guys, you'll notice that this is slowly going up, and one of the reasons for this is reseller nirvana. I am listing more items than I'm selling. That is a problem that I need to look into. Again, not the purpose of this video. I will likely do a video of how I look into it and how I solve that, because my store is growing, not intentionally. It's growing because I'm not selling items. So something's wrong there. I need to figure out why they're not selling. All right, we're going to go ahead and look at my cost of goods. So do keep in mind, and I didn't do my average cost of goods. So do keep in mind that this gross, you can't figure out what my average sale price is for this, because that gross does include all of my reselling business. If you want to know more in-depth information into my reselling business, what my average cost of goods is, what my sell-through rates are, what my average sale price is, really in-depth data, check out my how to make money reselling playlist. I think I do a monthly video on all of those numbers as well. So my cost of goods for the month, it cost me $1,530 to sell 281 items. And I'm going to do that cost of goods really quick for you guys, because that can be done. I didn't do it as a prep for the video. My apologies. So my average cost of goods, 1 divided by 2. 1,530 divided by 281 is $5.44. So that's my average cost of goods for the month, which, like I said, it was closer to $10 last year. That is definitely going down. I had high returns this year, or in March. I'm usually closer to like 5-6%, 8% returns. It was strictly based off of item doesn't fit, or I just didn't like it. And I think this is part of the world that we're living in right now. People have less money. I do offer free returns, and I will link a video up above on why I do that and how to decide if it's right for you. I do offer free returns, and that's part of it. You may get item doesn't fit and item is returned because they simply don't like it. I am getting more of those because I think people just strictly have less money, and so they're being a little bit more mindful in what they're spending. That makes my gross profit. So of my gross, once you take out my cost of goods, I made $7,312.78. That's a margin of 82%. This is slightly higher than last year, but down from previous months. So I'm still kind of on par for the year, and definitely better than last year. That's what I like to look at, is I want to do better than last year, or at least not worse, right? So my hourly rate on a gross profit is $294.77. This is one of the big reasons that I like to look at my numbers, friends. Now, we do need to keep in mind there's still a lot that needs to come out of that number. That is not my take-home hourly rate. But y'all, $300 to work on my schedule around my kids. Yes, things are down, but keep following, keep watching. We'll see where it goes. But based off of this, it's still worth it. It's still a pretty legit gig to be doing, to be able to make that money on my schedule. Let's go ahead and take a look at my revenue split. So what the breakout of that gross revenue is, and then we'll just keep going down the profit and loss, looking at shipping and fees and then expenses. So we're going to scroll on over here for just a minute and take a look at the revenue split. So if you follow me, eBay being the biggest chunk of the piece of the pie is no surprise to you at 65%. However, Poshmark has come up, and something that I have done to change this is I used to list, and I will link a video up here. I did it for my jeans, but I started doing it for everything. I looked really in depth into my jeans. Friends, I make strategic decisions about every single thing in my business. Every single thing that I do is based off of numbers and data, and it is a large reason that I can be making that gross working minimal time. Time is money, and I don't like to waste it. So, and money is money. I pay virtual assistants. I want to make sure what I'm paying them for is going to give me a return on my investment, being their time, and make sure that I can maximize my profits. So I looked really in depth. Like I said, I'll link the video up above, or sometimes I run out of cards in these videos, so they'll all be linked down below. But my Poshmark is increasing because I used to, based off of data 2 years ago, I used to list everything on eBay for a month, and then I would move it over to Poshmark. Based off of this jeans analysis that I did, and then I looked a little bit more into other data, I have now moved everything over to Poshmark after a week on eBay, right? So I pay someone to do this, and I want to make sure that, and I pay someone to put it on there, and I pay someone to take it off. So 2 years ago, it wasn't worth it. Now it's looking like it's worth it, and that's definitely increased my Poshmark up to 26%. And then you can see these little chunks of pie are going to be social media. Facebook is, part of social media. That's actually Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, but they're paying some creators for Reels right now. It's a beta, so I'm not banking on this being in there for a while. I'll take it while I can. And then social media is, YouTube, Instagram. Dashboard is going to be digital products. Courses is this smallest sliver down here. I don't sell many of those. I also don't make it a huge part of my social media, right? To sell courses. I have them available if people are interested, but I don't really make that part of my marketing strategy, as well as affiliates. I've never done a paid promotion. I might do one in the future if it comes along and it makes sense for my business, but I don't do a lot of paid affiliations. I do have links to things that I use down below, but I don't really make it part of my marketing strategy. And that shows here, it's not a big piece of this pie. So now let's go ahead and look at shipping and fees. We're going to come back over to the profit and loss. We're going to look at shipping and fees. So selling fees, Poshmark is 20%. That's it. You can't do anything about that. eBay, I'm not going to get too in-depth into this, but my eBay fees for March 2022 were about 13%. I will link a video up here on how to tell what your eBay fees are. It can get very complex because it depends on what you're selling. It depends on if you do promoted listings. It depends on if you do free returns, if you're a top rated seller plus, lots of things that depend, but I manage and track my data, so I know exactly how much it was, and it was just slightly over 13% for March of 2022 for eBay. One of the reasons, just quickly going to put it out there, but check out the video, that I do free returns is it makes me a top rated seller plus seller, which reduces my selling fees, which then makes my net more. I'm making more money because I'm paying less in my selling fees. It reduces my selling fees for everything, not just that 8% that was returned. I looked at my numbers, and it's definitely worth it for me. I'm paying less in my selling fees, even if I'm getting 8% returned. Shipping on Poshmark, if you are a new reseller, we'll just quickly share, shipping on Poshmark is covered by Poshmark unless you offer a shipping discount, then that comes out of your gross revenue. So that's what number we're looking at here for Poshmark. eBay all of shipping comes out of your gross revenue. I don't do free shipping. I will link a video. No, subscribe. I'm going to do a video. I haven't done it yet, so subscribe. I'm going to do a video on why I don't do free shipping and how to tell if you should do it or not. But I don't do free shipping, and everything is basically like a pass-through. I don't intend to make money off of free shipping. I do it so that it is easy for the customer and easy for me as well. So I do flat rate shipping, not to be confused with like a flat rate envelope, which I use from USPS, but like anything under 1 pound costs $5.50 to ship. I'm in Colorado, in the middle of the country, so it costs me about the same regardless of where I sell. Basically just a pass through there, but that does come out of my gross, which gives me a contribution margin. So now we're down at about 50% contribution margin of $4,601 and 92 cents. $4,601.92. There you go, Sarah, which is a contribution margin of 52%. Something I want to just quickly talk about here is, if you follow me and you're looking at these numbers compared to previous, my gross profit is up because my cost of goods is down. However, you'll notice kind of my contribution margin, and as we go further and further down, those numbers are about the same as they were last year. And this is because that smaller piece of the pie, my dashboards, my courses, my affiliates, all of that is less than it was last year. It's my goal was to actually increase that in my business, and it's actually going down. So it's something I need to look into and figure out what I want to do there. It doesn't have a cost of goods. It doesn't have a cost of goods attached to it. So it's strictly just my time to make that money, which I haven't honestly prioritized to do that, and I'm not sure if I want to. I don't know if there's more digital products that I can do, more courses that I want to do, or if that's even really just the route that I want to go. But it is definitely down. I think for dashboards, there's other products that are coming out that personally I don't think have as good of analytics as my Google Sheets, but I do understand that it's just easier to use because they're within other products and just easier to manage and use. So I think that's kind of why I'm seeing a decrease in my dashboards. And I'm not doing YouTube lives. I was doing 4 videos this time last year, and now I'm doing 2. So that makes sense why social media is down. Let's go ahead and look at my expenses. And then we'll do a split out of these expenses as well, kind of what is contributing to these expenses. So last year, to sell all of this, to make that $8,842, I spent $1,243 on expenses. We'll go ahead and scroll down and take a look at what that is. You can see every single month, the biggest piece of my expenses pie is going to be my virtual assistant. I will link a video up here on how to tell if a virtual assistant is right for you, looking at your numbers to figure out if it's right for you. It's absolutely right for me. Yes, it's the biggest piece of my expenses, but it allows me to make that amount of money and work less hours and stay consistent in my life. You can see here too, this is the first month that donations has showed up. Donations is essentially, donations is I buy something and then I get home and it has a stain on it. It's too late to take back, so I just donate it back, or I donate it to a nonprofit, or it is what it is. The reason that you're seeing it all in March is not because I did a lot in March. It's mainly because I just didn't account for them until March. I kind of wait for a big pile to get together, and then actually my husband does most of the bookkeeping. He'll go in and kind of just do them all at once. So that's why you're seeing a big chunk in March. It just kind of, there was enough of them and he did them all in March. Other things that contribute to this, these are things that my CPA has told me. Some of them, like phone and internet, I work from home, they're a percentage of our home bills. Definitely reach out to a CPA and ask what expenses that you can take in your business. The reason that you take these is you want to lower your net, because that net number is what your taxes are taken off of. So the lower your net number for tax purposes, the less taxes that you're going to pay. You can't claim things that aren't claimable. You'll get in trouble with the IRS, but there are things that you can claim and you want to claim because it will lower that net and make your taxes less. So office supplies, List Perfectly. I pay for List Perfectly. There is a link down below, 30% off. Look at me using some affiliate marketing. I use List Perfectly. I love it. Check it out down below. There is a link. Phone, internet, electricity, water, trash, administrative. These are things like renewing some of my website stuff or affiliate marketing, and then IT tech as well. So that's kind of where the expenses are coming from. Let's go ahead and look at what my number is now. So my profit before taxes, we're at 37%, $3,358.71. That's for an hourly of $101, friends. So this is why I like to look at my numbers before going into this analysis. Before looking at these numbers, I'm like, this is the worst eBay month that I've had in a long time. I'm having a harder time finding items to sell. I should just quit. Social media is telling me Poshmark's algorithm is awful, blah, 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 blah. I look at my numbers, and y'all, I'm still making $101. What job can I have where I'm on my completely own schedule? I work around my children. They get sick, I take the day off. I have no boss, that I can make $111. Now, do keep in mind I have to save for taxes based off of this. So I save very conservatively based off of what my CPA tells me to. At the end of the year, the past couple years that I have filed, I don't actually end up paying this amount because I file with my husband, so it depends on how much they've taken out of his taxes. We typically will max out our retirement funds, which means that you're also lowering your taxable amount. We max out our HSA, which also means you're lowering your taxable amount. There's a lot that kind of goes into this. My taxes, we filed our taxes, we got them back. I looked at the business and it was roughly 25% that we paid taxes. But going into the year, because I would rather have the money and not need it and get like a bonus at the end of the year than not have this money saved and have to pay more than I was anticipating, right? So I conservatively, there is a 15.9% self-employment tax rate that I save. Federal tax, I assume a 20% tax rate based off of our income. This is something that our CPA has told. And then I do live in Colorado where there is a state tax, and we don't assume, it is a 5% tax rate. So that puts me at a 40%. I save 40% of my income every single month for taxes. Like I said, at the end of the year, the past couple of years, it has not ended up being that 40%, but it could be, depending on, if my husband lost his job and our income went down and whatever it is, I save the 40%, and then at the end of the year, we kind of get a nice little bonus. So based off of those assumptions, let's take a look at my income in the end. Profit less tax, this is kind of my take home, $2,015.23. That's still a $67 an hour rate. It's absolutely still worth it for me to do, and I'm glad I looked at my numbers before I just went off of my guts and my feelings. It is definitely worth it. Things are changing, so make sure to subscribe to follow me on my journey to continue to make strategic decisions in our changing reselling world. If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'd also like this video. I will link a playlist here of how to make money reselling, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button.